Okay, well, welcome everyone to our first ever Director Bootcamp. You guys voted for it, so here we are. So I think this will be great for seasoned directors and brand new directors. So it looks like we have a little bit of both on today. So basically, we're not going to talk about the basic skills like, host coaching, recruiting, and all that, but really about I'm a director, or I'm an upper level director. What am I really supposed to do? What are my responsibilities? How do I manage my time with all the things I'm supposed to be doing? And how do I track my team, and how do I keep them motivated and keep them engaged, and really create a team culture? So as a director, some of you might still be also new consultants, right? So we have lots of fast track directors. So when we promote fast track directors, really, um, you guys are still brand new, right? So there's still so many things to learn, and that's why your director, your upline, myself, we're all still here to support you and your team. So just because you promoted to director in less than 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days doesn't mean that you are now on your own and you have to do everything by yourself. So we're still here to teach you and help you along the way. So let's do it together. But the most important thing you guys need to know, and I'm sure some of you are going to nod your head, is that your team will follow you. So you have to lead by example. All right. If you want your team to sell consistently, you have to sell consistently, right? If you want your team to do cooking shows, you need to do cooking shows. If you want your team to recruit, you need to recruit. They will follow their leader. Your team is basically, they're like your children, right? They follow your guidance, they follow your lead, and they will do what you do. And it reflects your leadership, when you look at your team. So as a director, if you want to be a director in maintenance mode, meaning just making sure you hit your 5,000, your team is green, then you should really look at doing at least 6 shows a month and 1 recruit in order to be in maintenance mode, right? But if you want to be in growth mode, if you want to keep your team growing and you want to sell more and have more shows and be in front of more people, then the rule of thumb is 8 shows a month, or 2 shows a week and 2 recruits a month to really be in growth mode. And you guys should really, as a director, you should sell at least half or a little over half of the 5,000 team requirements yourself. So like 2,500 or 3,000 yourself, because as a director, yes, you make overrides, but your main income is still going to be your commission from your personal sales, right? And if you do 2,500, 3,000 yourself, you're not relying on your team to carry most of those sales. And when you do that, and you recruit 1 or 2 a month, right, you won't ever have to worry about, are we going to be green as a director team this month? And are we going to get paid for the hard work that we had and did to promote to directors? So, and whether you're seasoned or not, you already know that the people that got you to directorship are not the people that will keep you there. So the quicker you can understand that it's absolutely normal for a third of the people to come into your team, a third will stay, and a third will fall out of the bucket, the better it is. All right. It's very hard to lose that first recruit on your team and you're like, oh my God, I had 5 and 2 of them are not doing anything. It is absolutely normal. And the quicker you realize that, the quicker you know that you always have to keep filling the bucket, right, Casey? Casey says, fill the bucket. So, so really, guys, if you want to be in maintenance mode, work on at least 6 shows. That means submitting 6 shows. So technically, really, you should book 8, right? Because we all know there's cancellations and reschedules. So plan for those as well. And as a director, yes, you have a team, maybe you have a team of 5, some of you have, bigger teams, but your personal business will always come first. If you don't have shows, your team's not going to have shows either, most likely, okay? So your personal business comes before any coaching call, any team meetings, because again, you can't lead if you don't have shows and a business yourself. right? So really work on, whatever size your team is, really work on creating like a team bonding, a team culture, whether your team is local and maybe every now and then you guys get together and go out to eat, or maybe you do a painting night, or maybe you guys go to the movies or whatever. Maybe you could just get together and cook a recipe. It doesn't have to be this big ordeal about having an actual meeting, but just really starting to create that bond with your team. And if they're not local, then maybe just do a Zoom once a month, every other month, and just do a Q&A. If you don't want to come up with like a big meeting, just do a Q&A, or just have them introduce each other as you promote to a director team, and really start that team bonding. Because we know that the people that come to meetings regularly are the people that will stick with you, because it almost, it turns into like friendships and like support system. So again, to just kind of, summarize, you're now a director. What am I supposed to do? Work on your personal business always. If you are in maintenance mode and you want to stay stable, 6 shows at least, 1 recruit a month. And if you want to keep growing and keep promoting and keep growing your team, at least 8 shows and 2 recruits. Lead by example. Don't ask your people to do things that you wouldn't do yourself. Okay. Any questions about that? Everyone agrees? Especially my seasoned ones? Yeah, been there, done that, right? Okay. So the other big issue that I hear a lot is time management, right? I'm supposed to do all these things, and I'm supposed to have shows, and and I don't know when to do what. The thing is, depending on the size of your team, you might not need a lot of office time and coaching time. So you guys have to decide, how often am I going to work? When are my shows? And when am I going to do like office time? You need a little bit of office time. Maybe it's an hour a week, maybe it's 10 hours a week, depending on the size of your team. But you need to set some time aside where that's pamper chuff time, and that's where you do all your back office stuff. So let me share my screen and share with you guys. I'm pulling it up. What's coming? All right. So you always struggle with, or a lot of us struggle with, what am I supposed to do? There's so many things and I don't know where to start, right? So this has been around for a while. Some of you might have used it in the past and then got away from it. But this is a great monthly tracker for your overall business, for your personal team, and for your overall organization. So this is called the RSVP tracking chart. You should print this out every month and have it in front of you, for all the months. So basically, R stands for recruits. All right. What is my recruiting goal for the month? Who are my leads, and when am I talking to them? Or you can do whatever notes, right? Add it to work from home group, talk to on the phone, we'll talk to husband, follow up next month, right? So eventually, as you're always asking people, but not everyone always says yes right now, you should have a pool of people that you can touch base with at least once a month, right? Because their time might not be July. Maybe they say, I want to do it in the fall, but you should have a pool of people that need to be at least touch base with once a month or followed up upon when needed. And the other thing is, not only should you have a recruiting goal, but you should set a team recruiting goal for the month as well. So, because it's one thing for you to recruit, but when you can teach your team how to recruit, you're going to grow a lot faster, right? And it just gets exciting to see them share this business with other people. So maybe your recruiting goal is 2, and maybe your team recruiting goal is to teach 2 people to bring in another person. And then talk to them about who their leads are. Have they followed up with them? Have we set up a 3-way call? Have we set up a 3-way chat? Are they added to the work from home group? Are they going to participate in the next opportunity event, right? So that way you have it all black and white, and if you need more, just add more lines. S stands for shows, right? You need to have shows, whether they are cooking shows or catalog or virtual parties. If you do more virtual parties, just put them in the top. Whatever kind of shows you do, you should always have, your goal of, okay, I want 6 shows, but man, I just looked at August and I only have 4. Well, do I have enough shows in July to fill my August? Or, hey, it's July, I have 6, but I really wanted 8. 6 is great, but I really set a personal goal of 8. So what can I do to get the last 2 shows filled? And again, you should all know there are cancellations, there are reschedules. So I suggest whatever goal you have to always add +2 so you can account for cancellations and reschedules. And the other thing you can do too right here, because you want to track your sales. How are my sales going for the month? Am I getting close to my goal? So not only should you have a show number goal, but you should also have a sales goal, right? Because at least like 2,500 or whatever your goal is. So for example, my sales goal is always at least 5,000, so I can have at least 1,000 to 1,500 in commission just from my personal sales, not including anything my team does. And then again, always you want to ask your host so you can keep track right here. Am I asking my host? Did I ask them? What did they say? And the same for your catalog or virtual parties. So S stands for shows. V stands for very new people in your personal team. Okay, so keeping track of who joined my team, when are their 30 days, when are their 90 days, did they have a launch party, did they hit 1250, and are they recruiting, right? So that will also show you if there's nobody in your first 90 days, then maybe that means that we need to go find some people. So you should always have an incoming, goal of at least 2 or maybe 4 total for your team or more that should always come in. And you should always have those people right in front of you every day, every other day, whenever you come in your office, because these are your babies, all right? Your new consultants will bring in most of your personal team sales because they are always going for the 1250 or more. They have their launch parties, stuff like that. So make sure that they're all taken care of. They are your personal babies and they need most of your attention. And then P stands for producers in your team. Basically, could be your next directors, but could also be your consistent sellers or your consistent recruiters that will always sell or will always bring in some people. But this helps you keep track of who are my next performers going to be, who are my next directors going to be, when do they want to promote, and how close are they? Do they have their first team member? Do they have their second team member? And you could move this around, however you like to. If you just want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can keep track of little notes of when are their parties this month? Have we asked all the hosts? So you can print this out, or I like to use it on my whiteboard so I can just kind of easily erase things, or you can actually print this out and put it in a sheet protector and just reuse it every month. But if you guys struggle with what am I supposed to do when, just looking at this every day or every time you have office time will show you the focus areas that you guys should be focusing on every time you look at what am I supposed to do. This is like your main area. Any questions about that? Has anyone used this before that maybe got away or wants to share their experience with this?
I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
For the V, that's your personal team? That's not anybody on any of your directors' teams if you have?
Right.
Okay, and the P is also, that's your personal team?
Yeah, it's your personal team. However, if you have other people in your downline that want to promote, I would definitely add them on. So you can just kind of track, are they on track? Do they need a check-in call from me? So I would probably add the promoters in there though.
Okay. All right.
Just kind of personal preference for sure. Anyone else? So I'll be uploading this. And like I said, it's a Word document, so you can edit it, but this should help you all to keep track of what are my main focus areas every time I go in my office. Or some of you work full time, so print this out and take it with you in your purse. So when you have 10, 15 minutes throughout your day, you can just start with the R, then go to the S, and maybe make little check marks of what needs to be done. So I'll upload this to our director page. But the other thing too is obviously knowing when you're going to work, right? So does anyone have a schedule they have created for themselves yet where they know, every Tuesday, every Thursday, I work in my office?
This is Troy. So I used to, and things were moving really well in my business then. And we figured out that when that stopped was when things started to tank for me. So I used to do like office hours on Tuesdays from 9 to 1, and Thursdays from 9 to 1. And then I had like other times that I could do calls that were smaller blocks. And I used to highlight them in my in calendar in different colors. So I had like one color for office at time and one color for team like meetings and stuff like that. And that was really helpful. And I would like to get back to that. And I'm working on it. I have a
Good.
child care issue
Yeah.
that is different now. So
Yeah. Okay, good. Does anyone else want to share? Is anyone doing it?
It's
I
something I've wanted to do.
I do have I know Mondays are my times. I do have somebody who comes in and has been helping the last couple of weeks. So Monday, and I choose Mondays because Mondays are the days that I don't want to do anything. I'd rather sit on the couch and binge watch something on Cody or whatever. But if I have somebody here and they're working in my office, then I have to work. So it kind of helps boot me out of so Mondays and Tuesdays, and then Wednesdays are really busy, so I can fit it between a couple of things like phone calls, and then Fridays, every other Friday, depending on when my husband's home. Those are my days to work. And I'm trying to get it to where like Tuesdays are phone calls, like host coaching, team calls, like do all the phone calls in one day. That way, because being an introvert, like the phone calls tire me out a lot. And having, I had like 3 on Sunday, and it's like, oh gosh, I feel like I have to be on. Not that it's not me. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of the way I am. So I'm trying to get that consolidated to one day of phone calls.
Yeah, and depending, Laurie has a pretty big team, so depending on your size, you might not need that much yet, right? You might not need days and days
No.
and days. But what you guys can do, what has helped me, and I just started doing this like, I think last year, it's not even been that long. But if you just go on Google and, oops, what is this? Oof. And just search a general weekly calendar template. Like you can find one, and then you just go to images. You can find one that like, I like these where it has like Monday through Sunday or Saturday, and it has little 30-minute time slots. And what I recommend you guys do is that you have something general like this. Some of you work full time, so you already know, 8 to 5 every day is your regular work. And start by highlighting all the things that you do on a regular basis, like, drop the kids off at daycare, or, go to church, or go to the gym, or whatever. And then look at, okay, so when are my pockets of time that I can actually do office time? And when are my times that I'm going to do cooking shows? Or when are my times that I go Facebook Live for my virtual parties, right? And do different colors. So I like to do green, like dollars, right? Make the money for shows. Sun, yellow, family time, right? Things that happen every day on a daily basis. So you can even see, when could I even have time to have some office time? Maybe you work full time, so you could maybe pick one evening during the week where you 8 to 10, is maybe where you do all your host packets and stuff like that. Or maybe you're a get up early person. I'm a get up early person. So I like to do like 6 to 7 to check my emails and stuff like that. But you're going to need, as a director, you should have some sort of schedule. Not saying you have to work 40 hours a week, but even if it's 2 shows a week and then maybe 2 hours a week in office time, or 2 2-hour slots of office time, one way or another, you guys really would be so beneficial to have some kind of consistency. It's going to help you, and it's also going to help your team knowing when you're available to chat as well. And of course, this business is flexible, right? So if you're like, oh, I'm supposed to have a show on Friday, it's supposed to be my date, but I got invited to whatever, a barbecue, then obviously you can move things around, but then take this block that you just had for show and then find another date that you can move things around. Okay, if you're like, hey, 8 to 10 or 10 to noon is my office time, and then someone invites you for lunch and you feel like I have time and I could do it, right? Then you just move that block to somewhere else. But what you shouldn't do is just delete the block and then let it go. So you look at this as like big puzzle pieces that you can move around, but one way or another, they should be happening every week. Does that make sense? And I cannot tell you how much that helped me when I did it, because I felt like I was working all the time, 24/7, every free minute I had. But now I'm able to just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to bed, and messages pop up. There's no Pamper Chef emergency, right? But knowing that maybe tomorrow I'll be in my office for 5 hours, they will get an answer. I think it's a mental thing too, knowing that you'll be in your office, things will happen, things will get knocked out, the to-do list will get done. But right now I'm going to shut down and I'm going to hang out with my kids. Or right now I'm going to shut down and binge watch Netflix because I deserve it, right? So I highly encourage you guys to really work on some sort of schedule. And as a director team of 5, you might need maybe an hour or 2 a week for supporting your team or office time. You don't need a lot of time, but depending on your dreams and goals, you might need a little bit more, right? So that is totally up to you, and you guys decide that. And if you need help figuring it out, I'm more than happy to sit down with you and help you highlight and look at pockets of times that you could focus on your business. And then the other thing is too, obviously we have repeat things that happen, monthly team meetings, director meetings, stuff like that. So if you could put that on your calendar for the next 6 months, knowing, every first Monday is a virtual meeting, every first whatever, just put it on your calendar now. So you have it set aside, and the more you guys participate in meetings and trainings and stuff like that, the more you guys surround yourself with like-minded people, the easier it is to get excited and be involved. It's when we go on vacation for 2 weeks, right? And then you come back and you're like, oh, that's like the hardest to jump back on, right? It's kind of comparable with the gym, right? If you stop going to the gym, it's a lot harder to get back because the first couple days are going to hurt, right? So attend meetings, attend trainings, surround yourself with like-minded people. And when you do office time too, work smarter, not harder. Don't do one virtual party packet at a time. Do if you know you're going to do 8 shows, make all 8 of them up for August, right? If you know you want to send a little love note to your team, send them out to all of them all at once. If you know you want to recognize your team for top seller, best shows, whatever, recognize them all at once. If you need to label catalogs, don't just label 10 at a time. Do it all at once, all right? And work smarter, not harder. So any questions about that? I hope that helps with time management for setting your own schedule and then using the RSVP chart to really know what I'm actually supposed to do. Does that help? Yes? Okay, good. And then the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is your team, right? How do I track my team? What am I supposed to do with them? How do I get them active? So let me share my screen again. Where are we? Okay, so let's go to Consultants Corner. Okay, so everything you need to know for your team is in Consultant Connection. You should have access to, all of you should have access to Consultant Connection reports too. So if you're looking for your top seller, and if you have a team of 5 and only one person sold something, recognize them. Give them a shout out on your team page. Post something on their timeline. Recognition is really big. The more you can love and support them, the happier they'll be. All right. So just in case you didn't know that was there. But Consultant Connection, what I always like to do is, and since we don't want to call anyone on, I guess we'll just use mine here. But basically, performance tracker, year at a glance, or months, right? So if you're like, all right, let me see who was active the last 3 months. I always like to do year at a glance. It just kind of gives you an idea. So if I'm looking to just randomly reach out to people, I like to use the year at a glance right here. So I might see someone that, this girl just joined, but for example, if she joined 2 months ago and it's 00000, a light bulb should be going off like, hey, what happened there? I need to reach out to there and see why have we not had a launch party, or where did the bookings go that she booked during her strong start, right? Or knowing here when someone is 6 months 0, that this is their last month to be active, to not fall off. Or if they're active every other month and they're really close to their first 1250, you still earn trip points. So keeping an eye on inactivity. Are they going to go inactive? Because you're all going to learn your lesson of losing trip points, and we've all been there and done that, by like $50. Okay, so just kind of pulling this up every month and looking at who am I going to talk to. You can actually print this out, and then thinking about reaching out to them personally every month. We like to call them elevator calls, just like check-in calls. How is it going? How is your month? Do you need anything? Or hey, you're really close to your 1250 goal. Or hey, did you know you're still in your first 90 days and you can still earn Pampered Chef dollars? Things like that just look at the numbers and see if they talk to you. And if you need help with that, call me. I will look at them with you, and we can look at these people and think about what can we do to personally reach out to them. But what you can also do is right here, you can print out a team calendar every month, if you didn't know that. And it basically has their phone numbers, and you can track right here. So these are the days of the month. You can track, do they have a virtual party? Do they have a cooking show? How many parties do they have? What does my team look like? Who has holes? Who needs more? So if Claudia says she has a show on today, the 11th, and I don't see anything submitted, and it's like the 20th, I'd be like, hey, what happened to that show? Or I can reach out to them the day before and be like, hey, go rock that show. Let me know how it goes. Or the day after, hey, how was your party? How did it go? Let's talk about it. Right? So you want to have some kind of tracker, somewhere or another, have your team, all in one, maybe print it out once a month to really see who's doing what, whoever I reached out to, who's falling through the cracks, who needs a happy mail, and just kind of keep track of them over here. Anyone used this before? No?
No, I didn't even. So does that track like everybody who's entered a like a party in Consultant's Corner?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so what
You have to track it.
Okay.
So when you
'Cause
make
I
calls,
didn't actually get to see your calendar. Did it actually pop up?
oh, it didn't? The calendar doesn't pop up?
It's because it's on another screen and you're only sharing this particular
Oh,
screen.
okay, hold on. Let me see if it pops up. Can you see it now?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what it looks like when you click on the team calendar. It doesn't track, like it doesn't autofill shows in. I wish it could do that. That would actually be a great idea. But you just, as you reach out to your team every month, and you can say, what does your schedule look like? You can just make an X or a C for cooking show, or VP for virtual party, or V for vendor event, or F for fundraiser, right? You can track it. And the good thing is it has their number right there. So if you want to give them a quick call, or as you're talking to them, right, you have their number right here. And then you can just make little notes right here. Has 4 shows, but wants 8. Or has 2 recruit leads, right? So printing one of these out every month is really helpful to keep track of who's got what. Or, maybe you'll have someone be like, all right, she's done. She already told me she doesn't want to do anything ever again. Don't talk to her, right? So just X her out. But just kind of keeping a run of, for the month of July, how are things looking? With all the shows that we have and my sales, should we be good with our being green? Should we be worried? What can we do to help these people?
So what are the lighter ones? Because I see some of them are highlighted that are darker and some of them are lighter. Is it just inactive? Is it just...
I think these are the ones that are going to fall off this month.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe, you know what? I think maybe those are just inactive people because they're not all going to fall off. So I think they're just inactive.
Okay.
I wonder if that would show you somewhere. The following appear in bold: active consultants.
Oh, well, there
There
you go.
goes. New consultants within the first 90 days and inactive consultants who have entered bookings on their show calendar. So yeah, so the inactive ones that
Okay.
haven't done anything. So one way or another, find a way to keep track of your team, whether they're the first 30 days, their 90 days, if they were inactive last month and they're about to lose their career sales, if they have been inactive for 5 months and this is their 6 months, try and bring them back, help them by doing a launch party for them. If they have their own goal of selling 2,000 every month, you should be able to keep track of that with your team calendar by just printing it out or having it in your Evernote, or if you have a team of 5, you can also put it on a whiteboard. It doesn't have to be printed out, but one way or another, knowing what your team is doing and what they want. And that goes, if you're like, oh, I don't know what to even talk about with these people, right? So if you're brand new director, involve your upline director. Let us help you do that. You can listen in on the calls, and then maybe you could do the next one, and we'll listen in and give you feedback until you are very comfortable with that. It is not, you don't have to feel like you have to coach all your people. And even if you've been around for a while and you're like, you know what, maybe coaching people is not my strength, bring your upline director in, let us help you. All right. But just the base coaching model, and some of you already do this, is the grow call. Who has never heard of the grow call? Okay, so the grow call, GROW, anytime you do a call with your team, G is for goal, all right? Every time you do a personal call with them. So what's your goal this month? What do you want, right? What's your goal by the end of the year? What's your goal this week? Because they have to know what they want, right? It has to come from them. The idea has to come from them that they want 2 shows this week or 2 shows this month. And then R is reality. So what does reality look like? So you say you want 8 shows this month, but reality says you have 3, right? So O is then the opportunity. So what opportunities do you have to come up with the rest of the shows? And that is where you don't tell them. This is where you brainstorm with them so they come up with their own solutions. So you might point them in the right directions, and you might say, okay, so how about your launch list? Is there anything that we could do about your launch list? Or are there any past hosts that we could contact? Or what do you think? What are you going to do to get the shows? And they might say, oh, I'll post something on Facebook. And then you can say, well, maybe that isn't the most efficient way, but how about private messaging some people, right? So you help them come up with the opportunity to get whatever they're missing for the goal. And then W is willingness. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, yes, sign me up, I'm going to do this. How willing are you to go after your goal? And if it's anything under a 6, then you go back to, okay, so you say you want 8 shows, but you're not willing to do the work. So what's holding you back? Until they're at least a 7, 8, 9, or a 10, that they're actually going to go out and do it, you got to find out, why are they not doing the things they say they want to have? All right, so just as like a guidance, but always asking them, what do you want? You guys probably have heard me say that a lot of times, what do you want? Because I'm not here to tell them, you're not there to tell them what they should be doing. It's really, what do you actually want? And us helping them achieve those things. All right. So using the GROW model, and if you want to practice it, I don't mind getting on a call and just listening in, or we can role play or whatever, and we can practice things like that. And the only way to get better is to just do them. Right. So at first you might be like, oh, I don't know how to help these people, but the more you do them, the more you realize that every call is pretty much just helping them figure out and overcome their objections and obstacles. Right. And the other thing is, when you talk to your team, be proactive, right? They don't want to just be heard of when it's the 2 days before the end of the month and you're like, hey, I need you to submit shows. What do you have, right? Be proactive. Reach out to them at the beginning of the month. Ask them how they're doing. What do they need help with? Do they want a paycheck on the 21st? So be proactive in communicating with your team. And set a monthly personal goal for yourself. You should always set your own goal for yourself. And, don't lowball it. If you know you're going to sell $750 every month, then that shouldn't be a goal, right? Find something to stretch you every month. And a team goal. How much are we going to sell as a team? Are we in maintenance mode, and are we happy if we hit 5,000, or should we really strive for more? And that's totally up to you. And share those goals with your directors. Share them with your team. Keep your team on track. Hey, so we decided that our team goal is 6,000 this month and 2 new team members. Who's going to help? And maybe, you can give them a little challenge or a little incentive, and it doesn't have to be a lot. You could even say, I'll give away a $5 Starbucks gift card, or I'll send happy mail. It could be anything you send them, a little notebook or some catalogs or some recipe cards, or it doesn't have to be high price item, but just some little recognition along the way. And the most important thing for your team, and especially for your new people, what is it for your new people? What are we doing with new people? That's the most important thing you can do.
Strong start calls.
Yes, thank you. So the strong start calls, as you're growing your team, and maybe you're a brand new director, or maybe you promoted with 5 and now we haven't recruited anyone in 3 months, right? And you're like, oh, I really don't know how to get these people off to a strong start. Let me tell you that your director cannot see as new team members come in. We don't get emails anymore, all right? So if you want help with getting them off to a strong start, please reach out to us so we can help you. I mean, sometimes we'll see them as you add them to the team pages or whatever, but really, until you are 150% comfortable that you know how to get your people off to a strong start, which might take a while. It might take 90 days, it might take 6 months, depending on how many you recruit. You have and should involve your director. We do have, so let me just show you guys where it is. All right, here it is. So it is in the pin post of the Bazaar Bullet Train Director team, is the Strong Start binder. Where is it? Okay, here it is. So when you see that someone joins your team, you get an email. So as soon as you get that email, you should be sending them this welcome email. Okay, your director can't do that because we don't get notifications anymore, all right, that they joined your team. So make sure you send them a welcome email. That is something super simple that you can do as you have new team members. And again, the Strong Start call is divided into 4 calls. We have a recording that we role played, so you can listen to the recording several times before you do your first call. We have the script. I use the script every time that follows you and guides you through your first call. And then basically it's a call, and then they get a follow-up email. It's a call, then they get a follow-up email. It's a call, they get a follow-up email. But when you get off your first call, you have to make sure you schedule the next call, which is 48 hours after. Or maybe you don't have office time in the next 48 hours. So maybe it's 72 hours. Maybe it's 4 days after. One way or another, a follow-up call needs to be scheduled, and they need to know what they're supposed to be doing by the time you talk to them next time.
Claudia, I have a question.
Yeah.
So this is in Evernote. If you make a change in Evernote, am I going to see it when I click on my Evernote link for it?
Not these, I don't think so. So I don't think you're able to change them. However, you can copy and paste them in your own note.
It
No, I
depends.
need you to change it to remind us to talk to in the first Strong Start call to find out who they want on their team right away. Because I keep forgetting that one.
It depends on how you have it saved. If you've clicked the link and you saved it to your Evernote, then when she changes it, you're not going to get it because you have a different one saved. I'm trying to think how.
When you edit it, it changes the link?
No, it doesn't change the link. I'm just saying if you take a copy and you save it to your Evernote.
No. I just click. I have the Strong Start binder there, but then these are all like living links, right? Because they all open up. None of them open up in my app. They open up on the web.
Right, but then you can click Save to my Evernote.
So
and you can put them in your folder.
If she makes a change to any one of these and you click on it, the change will be there. If you have it saved in your Evernote, it's not going to change because that's a different, it's no longer on that link. You've saved it into your Evernote.
So when I have the Strong Start binder, but
Unless
it has
she shared
all
it.
of these links. So if she changes the actual document that these links take you to, then won't it be updated? Because I don't have the actual document saved to my Evernote. I have this, which is all links.
Right. So your best bet is to one day go to your Evernote, create a Strong Start folder yourself, and copy and paste them all into your Evernote. So like if you look at mine, can you guys see this? Although I switched screen.
Yeah, I see your Evernote.
Okay. So like I have I have a Strong Start binder here. So eventually what you should do, if you can print these out too if people want paper. I have all the files copy and pasted here, call number 1. So when I'm done with my call number 1, the follow-up email is right here, call number 2, call number 3, call number 4. And then keeping track of your team, right? Every time you do coaching calls, taking notes of them. Like I have all the directors and then I have my personal 30 and 90 days people that I just write notes up because, as your team grows, one day you're not going to be able to remember who said what during each call, right? So, and if you need specific Evernote training, I mean, we can definitely help you kind of maybe set up some basic folders for you and your business, or you can print them out, or you can put them on your calendar, however you want, okay? But the Strong Start is one of the most important things that you should learn after you have a good, consistent business, right? So involve your director. Let us help you get them off to a strong start. And, even if you maybe are like, you know what, I thought I had it, but I feel like they're just not, getting off to a strong start. I feel like they're not selling. I feel like, my last 5 recruits did not hit their 1250. Then just reach out to us. There's nothing wrong with that. I would rather you reach out and say, hey, listen, I think I'm doing something wrong, or maybe I'm wording things not right, or maybe I'm just not getting them excited enough. Can you help me out with the next couple calls? And then we go on and help you out with them, or maybe listen in to one of your calls and give you some tips along the way. So the only way to get better is by, getting support and asking for help. So if you're not comfortable with the News Consultant Strong Start, please reach out to your directors so we can help you. So that kind of should cover the team, as far as what am I supposed to do with my team? How do I keep track of them in Performance Tracker with the team calendar? How do I coach them? How do I get them off to a strong start? And how do I help them set goals and encouragement, how to get your team excited. Little things. If you have extra products laying around, give something away for attending a training, or whatever. Just little people do a lot of things for little things. Okay, so they just get excited that they can earn something or that they can win something. So encourage them, get them excited. If you see our team recognition and you see their name on there, say, oh my God, I can't believe you're on here. Yay, congratulations. What a great job. And that should help you keep them excited. But the one-on-one communication, the more you can communicate with them one-on-one, the better. It'll make you more relatable. It'll make them, more connected to you. So don't just like post on your team page all day long. Really try to personally reach out to them and find out what it is that they want and what they need help with. So that should cover the basics of, besides your personal business, recruiting and all that. But I'm a director. What am I supposed to do? How do I manage my time? How do I keep track of everything? And how do I support my team? And how do I make sure that these new consultants get off to a strong start? So I'm going to turn off the recording and then I'll tell you one more thing.